Do you agree that some art or that some music is objectively better than other music?
No.
Okay, that's a problem. Because hold on. Okay, let's scope it out. Do you think that music as an objective category exists? Do you think there is such a thing as music?
Sure.
Okay. Objectively?
I mean, we define what music is.
No, we don't.
I think we
music
do.
preceded language historically, arguably. I believe that's the case, but I'm not going to lean on that. But let's say we don't need words and language to feel music and to have an emotional response to music.
I mean, we perceive sound. That's like sensory data.
Sound is very different from music.
I don't know if I agree with that.
That's the thing. Is it's
Oh
like
my
there are
God.
people that like ambient
serious?
music. There's people that like there's some stuff by Aphex Twin
Okay.
that some people don't consider music.
Did this man just bring up Aphex Twin?
I did
Are you
indeed.
fucking kidding me?
Hold
I
on.
did indeed.
Do you know who CJ the X is? Okay, that's a problem. Number one, I would say that's a problem for most living beings. If you do not know who CJ
He's
the
a
X is,
Canadian.
Oh, okay.
he is
He's a dirty Canadian.
Already strike
somehow
against
Canada
the
has
guy.
produced all of these high quality figures. I do not know why, and we ended up with this guy.
They
It's
made
fine.
Dead Mouse. I give Canada
on.
props for that.
Hold on. Because I've had this argument before with other musician friends. Like, is there an objective standard by which music is good versus not good? I would broaden that out to say, can we describe some things as music and some things as not music? That's an easier distinction, but it's the same question.
I think it all just comes down to your personal opinion. I
No,
mean,
it can't be,
we can
because- hold on,
collectively
hold on.
agree on standards, but that doesn't make them objective.
Wrong.
It just makes them shared.
You've been
subjective.
Vaush-brained, okay? This bullshit about collectively agreeing, okay? Music is a human universal, which means that different humans independently arrived at music or arrived at the production of music outside of some, well, like music started first in this area and then it spread wherever. It's like our bodies are attuned to music. You can measure the physiological response you have to different songs, right? A very deep song like classical music is going to inspire a different physiological reaction than, me just clapping. Is this music?
Yes,
Yes,
It is.
it is.
Is it of
say
the
so.
same quality and depth as whatever insert your favorite song here is?
Depends on what you need in the moment. And that's
This is how I know I'm right, okay? Because then it's just cop out bullshit.
there-
Right? Now
I
listen,
know.
I know I'm right because I do that all the time. When I know I'm wrong, I just cop out bullshit like that. So
No,
you
no,
just
no.
listen.
That's
you
facts.
did what I did when I'm
No,
wrong,
that's
so I know you're
absolute
wrong and I'm right in
facts.
this space. Okay, it is very strange for me when musicians in particular suggest that all music is, or all sound, it's all subjective. What good music versus bad music is. It's like, no, you're appealing to some standard that is beyond collective agreement. It's a human universal. It's art.
Yeah, but the collective
That's like the
agreement
archetypal
differs
realms.
among people broadly. I mean, there are different sects of people that have different collective agreements on what good music is. There's people that love Justin Bieber. I don't, or his old stuff. I
Okay,
didn't
so hold
whenever
on.
he
So
was 13.
At the margins,
people loved it.
At the margins, I agree. Like, you can like Justin Bieber and I can like Red Hot Chili Peppers, whatever. But if you look, the circle, we were just talking about this, the circle of fifths and
I'm about
music
to
theory.
destroy this man's whole life, by the way.
Hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
All music cross-culturally abides by the same fundamental laws of music theory.
Well, it's the laws of physics, but sure.
Okay.
It's just frequencies.
It's just frequencies.
Of course.
You disgust me.
No,
As a
no,
musician,
no.
if
Okay.
you were to honestly look me in the face and say, hey, this music that I pour my soul into, that has actually
for
like
everyone.
gotten me through like
And it's not
hard
for everyone
times,
at all times.
It's just frequencies. It's like that is the
Of
most
course it is.
postmodern bullshit I've ever heard.
No. That's deeply human, and you're completely
All
wrong.
right, you know what?
Here's a no.
Get the fuck out.
Okay. Have you heard of? No, not to be too cliche, but have you heard of the piece of music? I think it's called 403. You might know this, Roenn.
I don't think so.
It's a blank page. Okay, it's an entire sheet of music.
Yep.
At I think like 88 BPM or something, but there's no notes.
Okay.
And the pianist comes out and he sits and he opens up the piano.
He doesn't play anything.
He doesn't play anything for 4 minutes and 3
Postmodern
seconds.
music.
And everyone claps.
Right.
Because the rule of art is to question our categories. That's music to me.
Whoa,
That
whoa,
silence
whoa, whoa, whoa,
is
whoa.
music.
The role of art is to question our categories.
That's exactly the rule of art.
I'd have to think about that. Because if I listen to a very deep song,
Mm-hmm.
hold on. To question our categories, how about to
course.
reaffirm the most ancient deep categories, the archetypal categories?
Well, sometimes
Do
the
you think-
question is that I had it right. Sometimes the answer to the question is I already know.
All right.
But you're supposed to ask.
All right, I have won this debate.
The question.
Wait,
what do you think?
Can I bring this back to the values question real quick?
Please do.
I think to come at it from another angle.
Lord of the Rings is not questioning anyone's fucking values, right?
It is questioning every fucking value. Are you crazy?
I want to have the humility as a person to never claim that I have the objective answers, especially when it comes to questions of ethics or morality. So whenever I give an answer to a question, I'm making a judgment that comes from my brain and how I feel. And my brain is not the same as other people's brains. You can make an argument that most humans share enough of our base values in common, if you're not like a total sociopath, that we can get along enough to share in those values. But it is, at the end of the day, a judgment that has to come from consciousness, from a conscious being. It has to pass through a filter of subjectivity to ascribe goodness or badness onto something. Like they say, what is chaos to the fly is order for the spider, right? So is it good or bad when the fly dies? That depends on if the fly and the spider could talk, who you ask, right? So value to me has to enter reality at the membrane of our consciousness, perceiving reality. It does not exist in reality in things. So that's whenever I say things are subjective, it comes from my attitudes and my brain that, again, I did not author. And I want to have the humility to be able to admit that and not claim that everything that I happen to think is good or bad lines up perfectly with objective reality.
Okay. Are there not objective parameters that shape your subjective frame by which you filter what's good or bad?
There are parameters in my brain that shape it, sure, but people...
No. Are there not evolution? Are there not forces outside of your subjective preference? This is my fundamental issue with Vaush. He says, well, if we can all agree collectively on a set of axioms of what my preferences are, it's like, bro, you don't choose your preferences. They're conditioned outside of you.
To some extent.
Not only biologically, but also culturally.
To some extent. I mean,
completely.
Evolution, I think evolution has obviously selected for survival to some extent, but there are people that don't value the survival of a lot of people. They are okay with genocide.
Yeah,
they're okay.
Psychopathy is a exception to everything we talk about.
Suicidality is a thing, you know? I mean, we can talk about shared agreement of things, but not everybody values the continued survival of every other person, you know? So it's like we tend to value our survival, but I value the survival also of all people as much as I can. Some people don't care. Their values are, my group survives. I don't care what happens to any other group, any other race, any other country. And that's the values of a lot of people.
But so do you at the end of the day. You would choose your family over strangers.
I would choose them if it came down to it.
But that's what I mean.
But in a perfect world, I would want to value all lives equally if I didn't have to make a trade-off. You know?
Okay. Wow.
But I would value my family over strangers, of course.
As would all of us.
Subjectively, I've come to the conclusion that I just utterly owned both of you in this discussion. So we're going to move on, unless you guys object.
No, I'm good. We're moving on. I mean, just keep in mind the attitude independence thing. I would ponder that.
To me, the same way of what you just said is something I think we've talked about before. Is like reality is the thing you run into when your ideas are wrong. That is the same. That's just a re-articulation of that idea. Because I think I agree with you. It's like, yeah, there is objective truth out there somewhere. And it is attitude independent because it doesn't matter how you feel about it. You're going to run into it if you don't align yourself with it.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it.
Then there's how we feel.
But that is objective.
Well,
that's sort of... Okay, but hold on. Well, I'm going to take a wild guess and say we're not going to get to the bottom of metaphysics tonight.
Probably not. At a later time.
I'm already there. Don't worry about it.
At a later time, we can deep dive epistemology.
You guys aren't going to.
Yeah, you guys can join me later. All right. Let's talk about another issue.
We can keep it light. Go Israel, Palestine.
I was just going to say that was next on my list.